Due to my disability, I sometimes struggle to communicate clearly when fatigued, unwell, or nervous. I prepared this short presentation to ensure I can communicate effectively and make the best use of our time together. Thank you for meeting with me today. I appreciate the opportunity to share my experiences and discuss solutions that may improve outcomes for disabled Australians. The best way to explain these issues is to take you through my journey. I can show you the barriers I encountered, and what those experiences reveal about systemic shortcomings. My family migrated to Australia in 1988 when my father accepted the position of head of clinical physics at Royal Perth Hospital, a role he held for 25 years until retirement. I completed a Bachelor of Arts, Psychology, at UWA and built a successful career in residential and commercial property management. After years of managing endometriosis and infertility concerns, I became a mother in 2008. My son's complex medical needs required me to become his primary carer and navigate government support systems firsthand. Despite significant challenges, I returned to work as a single mother and at one stage held 4 jobs. I remained committed to supporting my son, contributing to my community, and paying my way. In 2017, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. As my health deteriorated, I could no longer balance full-time work, parenting, treatment, and ongoing medical appointments. Although I was eligible for the disability support pension, administrative errors and delays resulted in significant financial hardship. I was forced to exhaust my superannuation while waiting for support. When my claim was eventually approved, back pay was refused because too much time had passed, despite much of the delay resulting from administrative failures outside my control. As a result, I permanently lost savings I had spent years building for my future. My introduction to disability services was through MSWA. Unfortunately, I experienced poor communication, lack of transparency, and support that did not meet my needs when it mattered most. I was placed within the NDIS complex management pathway due to the complexity of my circumstances and lack of supports. Despite being identified as someone requiring additional oversight, I spent years falling through the cracks. Over 7 years I encountered repeated failures across multiple support providers. Concerns about service quality were often dismissed rather than addressed, leaving me without the support the scheme was intended to provide. The cumulative impact was significant. I lost trust in services, withdrew from society, and developed severe social anxiety despite never having experienced it previously. To move forward, I developed what I call the A+ attitude: acknowledge, accept, adapt, advance. Acknowledge the challenge. This is often the hardest step because it requires honesty. Sometimes we are in denial about the things that are hurting us or holding us back. Before we can move forward, we must first recognize that a problem exists. Accept the impact. Acceptance is not giving up. It is recognizing that an issue is affecting your life and deciding that something needs to change. Only when we accept reality can we begin to address it. Adapt through connection. The key to adaptation is learning from others. When we connect with people facing similar challenges, we gain new ideas, new strategies, and new ways forward. Asking for help is a superpower. Advance using the tools you have gained. By learning, adapting, and building connections, we become better equipped to move forward. Challenges do not have to define us. Progress comes from continuing to move forward despite them. The issue is not disabled people accessing support. The issue is funding intended for disabled people being lost through poor implementation, inadequate oversight, and inconsistent service delivery. The system allows vulnerable people to receive services without sufficient accountability, oversight, or participant protection. When participants raise concerns, they are often dismissed rather than heard. The result is wasted funding, participant trauma, reduced trust, poorer outcomes, and increased long-term costs. I worked, paid taxes, raised a child, and contributed to my community. When I became disabled, the systems designed to support me instead created additional barriers. Despite requiring disability-appropriate housing, I was placed in unsuitable accommodation and was unable to obtain the support required to address it. My GP requested an urgent housing transfer due to the impact on my health. The transfer was approved, yet I remained in an unsafe environment involving violence, police attendance, and ongoing safety concerns. My son completed Year 12 in this environment before eventually moving out. I experienced a relapse of my MS and ongoing deterioration in my well-being. My NDIS plan was finally reviewed this week for the first time in 3 years, despite reviews ordinarily occurring annually. After years without appropriate intervention, I have now been advised that recent funding changes mean the review is unlikely to provide the level of support I previously hoped for, including housing-related supports that may have helped keep my family together. Complaints alone do not create progress. Progress comes from understanding the real problem and identifying practical solutions. To do that, I applied the same framework that helped me navigate disability and rebuild my life. The A+ attitude. Acknowledge the real problem. The issue is not disabled people accessing support. The issue is a system that is failing to deliver the support it was funded to provide. Accept the consequences. Poor services create trauma, isolation, worsening health outcomes, and increased long-term costs. We must honestly acknowledge the impact current failures are having on the people the system was designed to support. Adapt by reconnecting with the people the system exists for. Disabled people must be included in policy design, service evaluation, and reform discussions. The conversation must come back to us. Advance through practical solutions. Build systems that improve communication, increase accountability, strengthen accessibility, and empower participants to engage confidently with services and the wider community. One example is the VID Passport, a communication tool I am designing with my speech therapist to help individuals explain their needs, improve accessibility, reduce misunderstandings, and support meaningful connection. The concept could expand to include condition information, communication supports, emergency information, accessibility tools, and participant-controlled privacy settings. I have experienced life both before and after disability. That perspective has shown me how easily people can become invisible when systems stop listening. I believe meaningful change is possible when disabled people are genuinely included in designing solutions. Thank you for your time, your service, and your willingness to listen. I hope my experiences can contribute to practical reforms that improve outcomes for disabled Australians.